Welcome back to Roots and Roasts. Today's video is all about Zingiber officinale, commonly known as culinary ginger. Whether you're trying to grow it in a sunny kitchen or a backyard bed, we've got you covered. From choosing the right pot or planting bed, to creating tropical-like humidity and knowing exactly when to harvest, this guide is packed with proven horticultural practices that will help you grow ginger successfully indoors or outdoors. Let's get into it. Culinary ginger is a herbaceous perennial in tropical climates and is usually grown as an annual in cooler zones. What you eat is actually the rhizome, a type of underground stem. It produces leafy green stalks and, under ideal conditions, a showy cone-like flower that's yellow-green with purple or red accents. While flowering is rare indoors, it's possible. And outdoors in warm zones, the plant may bloom after 8 to 12 months of uninterrupted growth. Let's quickly compare the two environments. Indoors, great for starting ginger year-round. You'll need a warm, humid space with bright, indirect light. Grow lights can supplement sunlight in colder seasons. Outdoors, ideal if you're in zone 7 and up. Ginger loves partial shade, especially morning sun with afternoon protection. Plant once nighttime, temps stay above 55 degrees Fahrenheit, 13 degrees Celsius. If you're in a cooler climate, start indoors and move outside once it's warm enough. Let's talk about the foundation of a successful ginger plant, the rhizome. This isn't a seed in the traditional sense. Ginger is propagated vegetatively through sections of its rhizome, the underground stem that we harvest and eat. To get the best start, choose organic seed rhizomes from a reputable supplier or health food store. Here's what to look for. Now, if your rhizome is large, you can cut it into chunks to multiply your plants. Whether indoors or out, always orient the buds slightly upward. This allows the new shoot to grow toward the surface without wasting energy redirecting itself. Plant 2 to 4 inches deep in loose, well-draining soil. 2 inches is enough for lighter soils or raised beds. Go closer to 4 inches if you're in a warmer zone with high temperatures. It protects the rhizome from drying out too quickly. Firm the soil gently over the rhizome, but don't compact it. Remember, ginger expands horizontally, and it needs that space to swell and spread. Indoors, limit 1 piece per wide pot. Even though ginger doesn't require deep pots, it needs width to spread. Overcrowding stunts rhizome development. Outdoors, space pieces 12 inches apart, with rows about 18 to 24 inches apart. This allows airflow between plants, reduces the risk of fungal issues, and ensures each plant has enough nutrients and light. Some growers pre-sprout ginger before planting to get a head start on the season, similar to how you'd chit a potato. To do this, place whole rhizomes in a shallow tray with moist cocoa coir or sphagnum moss. Keep warm, around 75 to 80 degrees Fahrenheit, and wait for green shoots to emerge. Once shoots reach about an inch long, you can plant directly into your pot or garden bed. This jumpstart method is especially helpful in temperate climates where the outdoor growing season may be shorter than 8 to 10 months. So whether you're slicing and curing your own pieces or planting whole rhizomes, setting the foundation right at this step is what separates a struggling ginger grower from someone pulling up fat, juicy rhizomes 9 months from now. Up next, we'll dive into the perfect soil mix and why ginger loves a blend that's loose, loamy, and alive. Now, let's talk about one of the most critical and most overlooked parts of growing ginger successfully: your container and soil setup. This is your pen and pad moment, because ginger's growth depends on giving its rhizomes the right amount of space, structure, and support from day one. Let's break it into indoor and outdoor setups. Start with a pot that's 12 to 16 inches wide. The width matters more than the depth because ginger rhizomes expand sideways, not downward like carrots. Go with glazed ceramic or high-quality plastic. These materials retain moisture better and are less likely to dry out your soil between waterings. Avoid unglazed terracotta. It's porous and wicks moisture away from the soil too quickly. For a plant like ginger that thrives on consistent humidity, that's not ideal. Ginger hates sitting in wet soil. Poor drainage leads to rhizome rot, which is a fast and silent killer. If your pot doesn't have holes, drill them, or don't use it. If you're planting outdoors, ginger thrives in raised beds or mounded rows. Why? Because ginger demands two things that in-ground beds often struggle with: loose, well-aerated soil and drainage that mimics tropical forest floors. Here's how to set it up right. Loosen your soil at least 10 to 12 inches deep. Break up clumps, remove rocks, and aim for a fluffy, friable texture that lets the rhizomes spread without obstruction. Ginger prefers loamy, organic-rich soil, a mix that holds moisture, drains well, and feeds the plant. Ideal pH: 5.5 to 6.5, slightly acidic. You can test your pH using a simple at-home test kit from any garden store. Mix in aged compost or well-rotted manure. This adds nutrients and helps structure. Add perlite, pumice, or coarse sand for better drainage, especially if your soil is clay-heavy. Let me explain the why, because this is where most people mess up. Ginger is a tender tropical understory plant. In its native environment, it's used to loose, decomposing organic material underfoot, high humidity and filtered rain, and constant warmth and airflow. If your soil is too dense, holds too much water, or is nutrient poor, the rhizomes won't develop, or worse, they'll rot from the inside out without you even noticing. Setting up your container or raised bed correctly from day one is what makes the difference between harvesting full, aromatic ginger in 9 months or tossing out mushy, rotted pieces in 3. Let's talk about light and shelter, the two pillars of a thriving ginger plant. Now, ginger is what we call a tropical understory plant. In its native habitat across Southeast Asia, it doesn't grow in wide-open sun like tomatoes or sunflowers. Instead, it grows beneath the forest canopy, bathed in dappled light, shielded from harsh winds, and surrounded by moisture-laden air. That's your blueprint. Whether you're growing ginger in a city apartment or an outdoor garden, your job is to replicate that ecosystem as best as you can. If you're growing ginger indoors, and especially in a northern climate, you need to prioritize light quality and humidity balance. Here's the golden rule: bright, indirect light. Place your pot near a south or east-facing window, one that gets plenty of morning or midday light, but not harsh, late afternoon rays. Ginger leaves can easily scorch behind glass, especially in the summer. If your light is limited, or you notice the stems stretching or leaning toward the window, that's a sign of inadequate light. In that case, use a full-spectrum grow light, positioned 6 to 12 inches above the plant, for 10 to 12 hours per day. Grow lights should mimic the PAR range, photosynthetically active radiation, of natural sunlight, not just brightness. Look for LED setups with a balanced spectrum including red and blue wavelengths. And remember, rotate your container once a week so the plant grows evenly and doesn't lean or twist unnaturally toward its light source. If you're planting ginger outdoors, especially in USDA Zone 7 and up, you're in luck, but placement is everything. The perfect spot? Think morning sun and afternoon shade. Ginger loves warmth, but its leaves are tender and they burn easily under full sun, especially in dry or windy environments. In traditional Ayurvedic and Chinese garden designs, ginger was often planted along shaded paths or courtyards where dew collected and wind was softened by stone walls, dense foliage, or bamboo screens. Today, we understand that this microclimate also serves a biological function. When it comes to growing ginger, water management isn't just about keeping the soil moist. It's about creating a rhythm that mimics the monsoon and dry cycle found in the plant's native environments. In the tropical understories of places like India, Malaysia, and Indonesia, ginger doesn't receive constant downpours. Instead, it thrives in periods of generous rainfall followed by warm, humid rest. And that's what you need to replicate, whether you're growing in a raised bed or a countertop pot. Let's look at the two main watering goals. Ginger hates extremes. If the soil stays too wet, the rhizome suffocates and rots. If it dries out completely, growth stalls or new shoots wither. Here's how to keep the balance. Indoors or in containers, water when the top 1 to 2 inches of soil feel dry to the touch, not dusty but dry. Use the finger test, not just surface look. Ginger roots grow shallow and horizontal. They feel changes quickly. In both traditional and regenerative farming, mulch is sacred, and for ginger, it's essential.
Why?
Because mulch acts like the forest floor. Apply a 1.5 to 2-inch layer once your ginger has sprouted at least 6 inches tall. Don't mulch immediately at planting. Give the soil a chance to warm up first, especially in spring. And always keep mulch an inch away from the base of the shoots. Piling mulch directly against stems or young growth can trap moisture and lead to rot or fungal infections. As your ginger matures, especially around month 5 or 6, you'll notice it starts drawing more moisture. That's when the rhizomes bulk up. Monitor your soil more frequently during this phase, and never let it dry out for more than a day. In the final few weeks before harvest, some growers ease off watering slightly to concentrate the flavor of the rhizome. This mirrors the end-of-season dry period in tropical monsoon regions and encourages the plant to consolidate its energy into the rhizome, not leaf growth. Ginger is not a heavy feeder like tomatoes or corn, but if you want big, juicy rhizomes with bold flavor, nutrition matters. The key to fertilizing ginger isn't just quantity, it's timing, balance, and consistency. You're feeding a system that stores energy underground, not one that shows it off in flowers or fruit. Let's walk through how to build a soil diet that respects the biology of ginger and gives you a cleaner, richer harvest. If you're planting outdoors or in a large indoor container, the most important work begins before you ever fertilize. In traditional Asian and Caribbean agriculture, ginger was always grown in soil amended with aged animal manure, goat, cow, or chicken well rotted, wood ash for potassium, leaf mold, and forest humus.
Why?
Because this creates a living soil, rich in microbial activity that slowly releases nutrients and supports rhizome growth over time. This is where a notebook comes in handy, because fertilizing ginger happens in 3 distinct stages, and each one matters. Stage 1. Early growth, weeks 0 to 6. Focus, shoot emergence and root establishment. Feed, water with diluted fish emulsion or seaweed extract every 2 weeks, mix at half strength. Ginger shoots are tender at this stage. Stage 2. Mid-growth, weeks 6 to 16. Focus, leaf development plus rhizome expansion begins. Feed, switch to a balanced fertilizer, 10-10-10 or organic general purpose. Apply every 4 to 6 weeks as a soil drench or foliar spray. Optional boost, add a compost tea or worm casting tea every other feeding. Stage 3. Rhizome swell and maturation, weeks 16 to 32. Focus, final rhizome bulking plus flavor concentration. Feed, reduce nitrogen slightly. Use low nitrogen, higher potassium blends, like 3-4-6 or banana peel compost tea. Last feeding, stop all fertilizers 3 to 4 weeks before harvest. This reduces excess water retention and intensifies ginger's flavor. Here's something I teach every new grower. Too much nitrogen late in the season gives you lush leaves and skinny rhizomes. Too little potassium gives you dry, fibrous, tasteless ginger. That's why your fertilizing calendar should be based on what the plant is doing underground, even if you can't see it. To get ginger to flower, the plant needs 8 to 12 months of uninterrupted growth, constant warmth, 70 to 90 degrees Fahrenheit, high humidity and proper care, a large enough, healthy rhizome system. Outdoors, flowering is more likely in second-year or well-established plants. Indoors, it's rare but possible if you nail the conditions. Even though ginger is a resilient plant, especially when grown in healthy, aerated soil, it's not immune. In fact, some of its worst problems happen beneath the surface, where most growers don't look until it's too late. Let's walk through the most common pests and diseases that affect ginger, and how to prevent them before you ever have to treat them. Because as any seasoned grower will tell you, prevention is cheaper and cleaner than cure. These microscopic soil worms invade the roots and rhizomes, creating galls or knot-like deformations. The result? Stunted growth, yellowing leaves, and underdeveloped rhizomes. You won't see the damage until harvest, and by then it's too late. Both of these pests are sapsuckers. They feed on the underside of leaves, draining plant energy and leaving behind sticky honeydew that attracts ants and fungus. Spider mites show up in dry indoor air. Look for fine webbing and speckled leaves. Aphids come with overfertilization or crowding. They love tender, fast-growing stems. Fungus gnats aren't directly harmful to ginger, but they indicate excess moisture and organic matter, and their larvae feed on delicate roots. Signs include tiny black flies hovering near soil, slow plant growth, and a musty smell from constantly wet soil. This is the most devastating problem for ginger, and it's almost always linked to one issue: poor drainage. Symptoms include soft, mushy, or blackened rhizomes, yellowing, limp leaves, and foul odor from the soil. It's often caused by fungal pathogens like Pythium or Fusarium, which thrive in anaerobic, oxygen-starved soils. You've waited months, cared for your ginger like a forest guardian, and now it's time for the most satisfying part: the harvest. Whether you're pulling up ginger for tea, cooking, market sale, or even replanting, this stage is about more than just digging. It's about understanding the life cycle of the plant, the maturity of the rhizome, and how to handle it with respect so it continues to give year after year. Let's break this down. This depends on what you want from the plant: its flavor, texture, or storability. Baby ginger, also called green ginger, is ready in 4 to 6 months. It has pale skin, barely any fiber, sweet, mild, citrusy flavor. It's great for juicing, stir-fry, quick pickles, and not suited for long-term storage. You'll know it's ready when the leaves are tall and green, and the rhizomes start pushing slightly against the soil. The segments will be visible and plump, but soft-skinned. Mature ginger, best harvested at 8 to 10 months. It has rich golden color, tougher skin. More pungent flavor, strong medicinal oils. Stores well in a cool, dry place. You'll see the leaf stalks start to yellow and die back. This is the plant's natural signal that it's transferring energy into the rhizome. In traditional farming systems, many growers timed ginger harvests to the waning moon, believing it helped pull energy downward into the rhizome. Whether or not you follow the lunar calendar, the point is this: watch the plant, not just the calendar. Once harvested, gently brush off soil. Don't wash unless using immediately. For mature ginger you plan to store, let it air dry, cure, in a shaded, well-ventilated area for 3 to 5 days. Store in a cool, dry, dark space, ideally 55 to 65 degrees Fahrenheit, in breathable containers like wooden crates or paper bags. Avoid refrigeration unless it's short-term, cold. Wet storage causes mold and texture loss. So, harvesting ginger isn't just about pulling roots. It's about understanding timing, touch, and transformation from seed to spice. And the best part? Anyone can do this. Whether you're growing in a raised bed or a repurposed tote bin on your fire escape, this is farming, just on a smaller, smarter scale. Thanks for tuning in to Roots and Roasts. If you found this helpful, drop a comment below with where you're growing your ginger, indoors or out. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more expert-backed plant care and growing guides.
See you next time.